Welcome. Scott here. Here is a quick boss guide for the upcoming Intersecting Wills event featuring the returning Warrior of Light from Final Fantasy I. The event synergy units are Warrior of Light, Alphinaud, Shadow, and most possibly Minwu. WoL FR will be making its debut with his FR boards and rework. In JP, the featured BT unit is Garnet. My guess is that Minwu will be replacing her for the banner. We will be fighting Garland with Vayne Manikin, which has 100 million HP each. They don't have any major resistances. The turn requirement is 60. The HP requirements is a strict 1000. Before I continue further, here is a small disclaimer clause for the video. The guide is written based on the time that the event was released for the Japanese version. Please do note that it is possible that the boss fight mechanics might differ when the actual event is released in global. Like most other Shinryu fights, the boss gains increased brave damage and gain resistances at start of the fight and 79% HP threshold. Bringing a support like Lunafreya, Charlotta, Aerith, Ramza, Yuna, Iroha, Pernello, Garnet, Selpha that grants damage boosting aura will make your fight easier. As the boss gains substantial boost to their defenses with the auras, it is important to inflict debuffs that lower their defenses. On the screen I have listed down the key utility that you can consider when forming your party for this fight. The fight is relatively easy one with simple fight mechanics. At the start of the fight, the Garland boss will apply an aura that raises the boss party's attack and defense by 100%. This aura will be applied throughout the course of the fight until you deal force weakness to the boss. To deal force weakness to the boss, you need to have two of the following conditions met. 1. You need to use ranged FR. And 2. You need to have lock inflicted on the boss. Warrior of Light FR meets both conditions. Other than Warrior of Light, other examples of ranged FR that you could use are Maria, Ferris, Jessie, Fujin, Titus, Lyud, and Arania. For lock units, you can consider bring lock units like Bash, Guy, Zack, Snow, Celis, Cater or 8 if you are bringing the ranged FR that I mentioned earlier. As the boss have delay mechanics and they are bound to get a lot of turns, you can bring the usual 3 cover tanks, Orin, Golov, Gladio, or units with counter mechanics like Core, 8, Shadow, Yang or Beatrix. Traps debuffs units like the Emperor, Minwu, Celis, Maria, and Sice also works well here. Vayne can inflict breaks in his moveset followed by a Brave plus HP attack. So, bringing an unit that offers break immunity is a great idea here as well. You can consider bringing Core, Yang, Ursula, Alphinaud, or Vaughn if you have his BT. The fight does not have any threshold HP attack mechanics but features lots of delay mechanic. So, the standard strategy of nuking by stacking Force Echo or deploying an off-turn team comp with damage mitigation works well here. Do remember that the fight has a strict 1000. So you want to minimize HP damage wherever possible. As we are no longer have Lufania plus fights, the boss guide will be focused primarily on Shinryu fights. In Shinryu, you need to understand the effects gained by the boss as the force gauge build up, its force ability and its force time effect. If you don't bring any force chargers, it is highly certain that the boss force gauge will build up faster than yours. To have a better understanding on the basics of the force gauge mechanics and Shinryu fights, I have done a video explaining the mechanics. I have included the link to the video under the comments and video description for your quick reference. Throughout the fight, the boss has a permanent force gauge properties that lowers your party speed by 50%. This will result you see the boss often having more turns than your party. When the force gauge is at 50% or higher, the boss will apply another aura that will reduces your party turn rate by 50%. The boss force gauge will build up faster as its HP is lowered. You can refer to the table on the screen for the percentages. At the 100% threshold, Garland will use Round Edge ++ which is a reset break status, AoE Brave plus HP attack that delays all target by 1 turns. The attack also grants the boss party 50% HP damage up for 5 turns. If Garland is already killed when the boss force time is activated, the Vayne Manikin will use Tree of Sephiroth, which has same attack properties as Garland's. Upon using the force ability, the boss will enter into its force time where the gauge will start to emit a red hue with a counter of 3 on its gauge. When the force time is activated, the boss will gain the following enhancements whenever your party act. Your party's turn will be delayed by 1. To deal force weakness on the boss, which will cancel the Dark Powers aura, you need to use a ranged FR that inflicts lock or used ranged FR with lock inflicted on the boss. I have mentioned the units earlier. Other than Warrior of Light, here is a quick recap of the ranged FR that you can consider, such as Maria, Ferris, Jessie, Fujin, or Arania. Now let's go through the fight key mechanics of the fight. It is a very simple mechanic boss fight, so you don't need to worry too much as long as you bring a strong AoE damage mitigator like Warrior of Light. Warrior of Light can solo this event himself if you have him fully geared. At the start of the fight, Garland will activate Dark Powers increase to their limit. This will result the boss party gaining a red aura which raises their defense and attack by 100%. Upon activation, you will see a red aura emitting from the bosses. You can dispel the aura by dealing force weakness. Alternatively, you can make use of ignore defense mechanics or abuse brave gains to bypass the resistances. Slap in some defense down debuff and you will be fine. Let's briefly go through the boss mechanics. Garland generally has 2 basic moves which he will alternate between the 2 throughout the entire fight. Soul of Chaos is single target brave attack that delays the target by 1 turn. Round Edge is an AoE brave plus HP attack that delays all targets' turns by 1. Vayne Manikin attacks are primarily single target and will do a combo of his 2 moves. He will use Force of Will followed by Mach Wave on its turn. In other words, every turn you can expect the Manikin to do a HP attack. Force of Will is a reset break status, inflict break, single target brave. It will inflict a frame debuff 50% HP damage taken up for 5 turns. After the attack, Vayne will follow by a reset break single target brave plus HP attack. Both bosses does not have a massive pool of HP. If you are doing a nuking strategy, you can do easily with stacking FR echoes. If you are doing an off-turn team comp, activate your FR when the boss force gauge is above 50%. As the boss has more turns, it means more off-turn damage, thus it will speed up your HP damage bonus easier. To abso this, remember to remove your speed passives if you are doing an off-turn team comp. Lastly, stand by a burst heal call like Rem, Luna Freya, Sidor, Paladin Cecil, or Purim in case of emergencies, as the HP requirements for the fight is a strict 1000. Before I end the guide, let's cover a bit on the featured FR unit. Warrior of Light is returning with a nice rework. He is still one of the best AoE damage mitigators in the game. Even without his FR, his LD is very valuable as an LDCA. I personally have used him for 200 endgame fights since early Chaos till early Shinryu with just an LD Warrior of Light only. You can find the playlist on my channel. Even though he is a deadweight on offense currently, I still managed to complete a recent D2D6 challenge with him. He is a very beginner-friendly tank, as there are earlier Alphinaud plus stages with threshold HP attacks, and he will make sure your party clear it safely without any difficulty. In my opinion, his FR is one of the best off-turn FR in the game. His force ability will apply shield buff on the entire party and inflicts 5-turn lock debuff on all targets. During his force time activation, the party will gain access to 50% HP damage up and 50% max brave cap auras. Now let's briefly go through the force condition. 1. Absorb or reduce brave damage taken. As long you have Warrior of Light shield active, you are effectively meeting this condition. Fulfilling the conditions will get 40% force time bonus whenever enemy act. In other words, as long as the enemy don't break the shield, you will meet the condition. 2. Acting with the active shield buff will give the unit 10% HP damage bonus. 3. Acting when the enemy is targeting Warrior of Light, Warrior of Light will get 20% HP damage bonus. Warrior of Light FR is a great off-turn FR but a subpar on-turn FR. Warrior of Light will get 30% force time bonus on turn while allies will get only 10%. Supercharging will only nab 60% HP damage bonus at most. When you activate the FR during a fight where boss takes a lot of turns with delay or rebreak or have counter mechanics, this is when the FR mechanic excel. Removing speed passives in an off-turn strategy is best for the fight. Pairing Warrior of Light with a trap debuff or counter units will allow you do a lot of damage even off-turn. Warrior of Light is one of the few FR units that is usable even if you don't have his burst. His burst offers a very underrated BT aura which features additional 20% HP damage bonus, further raises the max brave cap by 20%, raises party brave gains by 50% and grants brave regen equates to the shield values, thus give him an additional support utility. With this, I have come to the end of my boss guide presentation. Hopefully you find it useful. If you like the video, please give a like. Please subscribe to my channel for future gaming content. Good luck for the fight in the coming days. Bye.